Hiya. Well, I wanted to make another video catching you all up on my how I'm recovering from having been traumatized working with my last supervisor. Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you. I'm in a new place now, and it's scary. The office is a sort of like an open floor plan. I thank the good Lord. Oh, when I first got there, they put me in my own little office for a while. And I've been in there, and I can't even tell you. It's like heaven. The day that I walked in and was able to sit down and just look at four walls, it wasn't much bigger than, a closet, but the office I'm in now, well, it's a little bigger. But I can't even tell you. It was just like I felt blessed. And so that's the good part. But unfortunately, like this is a big office space, and it's in a really old building. It's beautiful. Like there's all hardwood floors and big windows and stuff. And there's offices off of this floor, but there are also like little cubicles, and I'll tell you, and those are open. Like, so there's people coming and going and working in those little cubicles, and there's some desks, back to back. But it's just that whole situation is 100 times more preferable to me than the situation I was in. There just was not a moment where I didn't feel like she had her eyes on my back or back of my head. Like I couldn't do anything. I couldn't relax for 5 seconds. Like just look at my phone or do nothing for a minute or read the news, look at the news for a minute if I wanted to. I had to have my work up and be productive every second of the day the whole time I was there. And I'm not a slacker. At this job I'm being super careful because they can track everything you do on your computer at work, and they made it very clear, during my orientation that if, they will track, and if they feel like you're not doing something productive at work, like you do it over and over again, they will speak to you, and this is just not my style, and I don't want to come off that way. And so I am not like surfing the web looking for the news or whatever, but sometimes I do look for like a little bit of music or something on YouTube that I can play in the background of doing my work, because I have tinnitus, and so I need something to like block that. Otherwise, I can't think. It's about enough to drive anybody crazy, I swear to God. So those of you who've been wearing headphones your whole life while working out, take heed, because you never want to get this bit. I don't know how I ever got it. I don't listen to music really loud, but after like COVID, like I had a lot of problems with my ears during COVID, and I had a lot of problems with balance, and I started noticing the tinnitus after COVID, and it just never went away. There's no treatment for tinnitus either. All right, so anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, even like if I offered, like, because sitting in my boss's, like my supervisor now, my current supervisor, I'm sitting in his office, and he's got an office in the other building. Like there's two buildings, and I said to him, I'll sit anywhere. I don't want to put you out. I'll sit at one of those desks out there. I don't care, you know. And it's fine. Like there's all students out there. They're really like the student assistants are just, they're young, they're cute, they're energetic, you just love them to death, like I do. When I ever have student assistants, I just adore them. I don't let it show, but I just can't help it because I just love that age of kid. And I love that they're in school, and all my student assistants here, like I've got 3 or 4 working under me, they're super smart. And I mean, really smart. Okay. This school that I'm in now is a big whoop school, and it's like one of the best in the state. And these kids are in hard majors, and they've got to be smart to be getting through them. So they're not only smart, they're also extremely hardworking kids. And so, like, when I was growing up, I didn't have anybody to push me in anything, so I was nothing but a slacker. But I admired, I'm like envious of kids who are college age, who have it going on, because I didn't mature intellectually well into my 30s. Like, I was a slow bloomer. I did terrible in high school. And I not only that, I was sexually harassed in high school on an ongoing basis. I didn't get an education. Nowadays, you read of people who are suing, their high schools for sexual harassment. I was sexually harassed every day of my life in my high school, and I was bullied, and I missed out on my education. I skipped school like a couple times a week because I am a really small of build person, and now I'm the envy of everybody because I've managed to keep my weight down, and I'm petite, and I'm 5'3", and I have a nice figure, and I've always been athletic. So now I'm the envy of everybody. But in high school, like, I was afraid of everybody, and so I didn't. I barely passed high school, and you know, I've always been really artistic, and I'm really creative. I'm not smart naturally or gifted in like math or science. I do fairly well in any kind of language course, because I had an older sister who was a literature major in college, and she gave me a lot of books to read, and we used to talk about the books she was reading. And so I developed language and literacy skills and knowledge of the humanities and the arts and literature while I was in high school and early on in college. But I didn't really finish college until my 30s. I went back to school at 30, and lo and behold, when I got into classes at 30, I was the smartest kid in the room. And I have always, I have like, so I finished my undergrad. After that I went right into a master's. I mean, not hard major. The first major undergrad was kind of hard. It was like legal studies with a business minor. And it wasn't easy. There were a lot of girls in there who didn't do well. From there I went into a master's and, similar type of degree. And I was one of the smartest kids in the room. And then, I'm trying to think, I took courses different places, and I always found, at least even in Ivy League schools, like just continuing ed, I'd go into a class and take a class or whatever for a job or whatever, because I've always pretty much worked in higher ed. So I had that benefit to where I could take a job. Almost always like one of the smartest kids in the room. And then in my MFA, that was a little tough because I have to say there were brilliant people in my MFA program. And then, so anyway, after that I went into a doctoral program. And again, like I did not have any trouble in my doctorate, and it was a difficult subject. And there were a lot of people who just could not, like, they couldn't do analysis, they couldn't do critical analysis of anything. It was in the language and in the arts field, so I excelled in that, and I had a long background in it, right? So I didn't have any problem. So anyway, I was a late bloomer, and I always felt like in my later adulthood, that if I had had more support, earlier on in high school, family support and academic support, and if I hadn't been harassed every day of my life, like I would have, maybe made something a little bit better of myself as far as careers go, and maybe I wouldn't have waited till 30 to get my degree. Like, all of this stuff has held me back. Like, I should be in a very senior level position by now, but because it took me so long and everything to get through school, like I'm in like lower mid-level career positions. So anyway, I have always envy like the student assistants who are so smart and young and ambitious like that, because I never had the support to be able to accomplish anything academically at a young age. But I wanted to just talk about all of that so that it would encourage and inspire somebody else who's maybe struggled. I also really think that I just matured intellectually slower than other kids. Like I was a late bloomer, and even if you're getting out of high school or you're in early, just graduated college or maybe have no college and you're in work, a career or trying to work or whatever and find that you're having difficulties, like give yourself some time. Because I didn't intellectually mature until, I can honestly say, until I was like 30. The degree I went in, like when I went back to school at 30 and got a bachelor's, I wouldn't have been able to do that at any age younger than that. I can honestly say it. I remember one time when I was like 18 or 19, I took an art history class and we had like this Gardner art history book. It was like 3 inches, 4 inches thick. And I would sit down to read it, and I was like 18. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't figure out what was going on in that class. I struggled to write a simple paper. Now it would be like, I could write that paper in my sleep, you know? Read that book in my sleep. I already know everything that's in that book, you know? I could be like an advisor to somebody writing that book now. Anyway, so I wouldn't mind that open floor space with all those people there, because I'm not the center of somebody's focus and ire like I was with this bitch in the other office, that I worked for. I don't think YouTube pays any attention to my videos, and I don't think I'll have my video taken down for swearing. But honestly, I felt all the time like it's just totally like I could not relax around her if she was in the office. She would go away once in a while on vacation or travel or something, and I would be like, thank God. When she was gone, I actually liked that job. I liked it a lot, and I was good at it, and I took care of everything. I was a good manager when she was gone. I had no problems. I liked going to work. The minute she would come back, I'd be miserable, like miserable there. One time she went away. I might have said this in another video. One time she was gone for like 2 weeks, and we were having some rooms made over, and there's a lectern. Those are like the desks that professors stand at when they give a lecture. And we had some people that were going to come in and update the equipment, and they were supposed to change that lectern. And they told her before they left, and I remember them saying that they were going to take the lectern out of the room and put it in the garbage or whatever. They could take it to surplus. And so she was gone, and about a week in after her being gone, I got a call from that room to help a professor. So I went up there, and I noticed that the lectern was still there, and the new lectern was installed. And I wasn't sure. I didn't give it much thought. I just thought the guys were on there going to come and get it or something. And it didn't occur to me to call that company and say, hey, you guys are when are the people going to come to take that lectern out? It just didn't occur to me. And I went back to my office, and I got busy working with stuff, and days went by, and she came back. And like another week went by. Okay, during that whole time, I was running all over campus fixing AV issues and managing students and helping, to schedule courses and, whatever else I was doing, editing files, just doing all these things, creating recordings, watching recordings, monitoring these classrooms. And not a problem in the world. Did everything right, And she comes back and has been gone all that time. And she never said anything to me like, oh, it was good to, know that I could leave you here and that you can take care of everything by yourself, Mary. Or she didn't say anything to me like, what went wrong here? What AV problems did you have? Like, then I would have had the opportunity to tell her, well, there was this mystery problem, I solved it in under 10 minutes. There was this other problem in this other room, and I replaced this cord. There was this problem and that problem, and I diagnosed it in this one. And into a great big AV closet in the other building, and, fix this issue, fix that issue. Nothing. I walked in one day when she come back, and she's sitting at her desk. She doesn't even look at me. And she's freaking sighing. I'm like, good morning. And I sit down at my desk, and she's like, just huffing, And I'm like, what's the matter? I can tell that there's something wrong with her. She goes, did you see that lectern up in that classroom? And I'm like, oh my God, it's still there? I said, they were supposed to take that. That's what I said to her. And she just got like, it was like something out of Bugs Bunny, like when, I don't, which was the character that used to turn bright red and steam would come out of his head, out of his ears. I swear, that's what happened to her. Like, she was so angry. She's like, and you didn't call the company and tell them to come get it? Do you understand that that was in the way of an exit? And that if there had been a fire hazard, if there had been a fire call, kids couldn't have gotten out that way? Like, it was blocking an aisle. There's like, okay, so it's like electric kits in there, and there's like 3 or 4 rows that they could file out and go out the door, right? And there's 2 doors to that room. Excuse me. And so no, it didn't occur to me. Like, when I looked at it, the first thing that ran through my head was not like it's blocking a fire exit. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, whoa. I didn't know what they were doing. I thought they had a plan to come. Didn't they say they were going to come and get it? I didn't know when they were going to come and get it. I just thought they knew they were going to come and get it, and that their men weren't ready to come get it yet. They were working another job. So no, I didn't call them. She's like, I'm embarrassed. Do you understand that that was blocking a fire exit? She's like, you should have noticed that. That's how she would say it. Okay? I just run that show for 2 weeks by myself. Not a problem or care in the world. And this is the crap. Like, she would come back and say to me. And it's like, she's like, did you go up in that room? And I was like, yeah, I did make one call up there. I saw it. And she's like, and you didn't notice it? And I said, I did notice it. But I just thought they had a plan to come get it. And I thought they were waiting for the men to be available to come pick it up. She's like, you can make those calls. You can call the vendor. And then later on, it was like a couple months later, she marked me down on my review and said that I was an underperformer. And then she had that, as an example of how I underperform in my job. And that same breath, that same conversation, she said, and another thing. She goes, I was just in room, whatever it was, And she goes, did you notice the threads in the rug on the stairs? She was all mad, like really angry, And I'm like, threads on a rug? No. What are you talking about, She's like, there were threads loose on the stair tread in the rug. No. Okay, I'm excited here, right? So I'll lower my voice a little bit. But it is not my job to like look at the rug in a room and decide that, that that's a trip hazard for somebody. Like, that is not at all my job. And I wouldn't have noticed that. This is what she does. She would go around and look for things like that. Look for things, to like make an example that I was incompetent. What a bitch she was. I swear to God. And, she was trying to build something that she could make a case that I was incompetent. And, a couple of times she had mentioned to me that when people don't do well on their reviews, in higher ed, they usually just quit or they go into something else, I knew she was trying to plant something in my head, And I had just finished my degree, and I was doing my job, and I was doing my job well, and I was determined I was not going to let her chase me out of higher ed. Like her, I was born in higher ed. I've worked at that university for 8 years in different roles and different capacities. And I've had jobs in universities for years. She is military. She had only worked at that university for 3 years. Okay, she's not an educator. She's not an educator at all. Okay, and she wasn't going to chase me out of higher ed. All right. So anyway, she wrote those things on my review and marked me down. And then there were some other things that she marked me up in, right? So I ended up coming out like 4 points ahead. But in that one, with her marking me down as underperforming in my responsibilities, I'm not eligible to get a raise. And I was already making like way underpaid. This whole thing just makes me want to cry. Like, I worked so friggin' hard, and I got stuck with this bitch. And I can't get ahead, and I couldn't get ahead. And every day of my life with her was miserable. Like, I hated her so much. Like, I hated her to the point where I'm just afraid to even tell you how much, because if anything happened to her, I would be like in prison. Like, if FBI people would come here thinking that I did something to her. That's how much I hate her. And truth be known, like, I've wished for it, honest to God. Like, I wouldn't have cared if anything happened to her. If she had dropped dead at her desk, I would have freaking loved it. You know? That's how much I hated her. And I had to just put up with it day in and day out. All right. Now, so I'm in this new position, and my supervisor, I have to say, my direct supervisor has some of the same characteristics that I looked for before and that I have talked to you about. He has at least two, okay, red flags. But that's all I see. And again, he's not focusing solely on me. So let's just say in the worst case scenario, he is a narcissist and ADD. He has more than just me working for him, so his focus is not 100% on me, and he's not, as far as I can tell, like, when he's not like he's not sitting 12 feet from me all day long, and he's not doing anything neurotic in front of me. All right. So, even in the worst case scenario, like, it's not going to be the same kind of situation. And I have noticed in this position, like, I have met a lot of, like, there's like 30 people in this office, and they're split between 2 offices and 2 buildings. Almost everybody has advanced degrees, and like masters at least. And but there's a lot of high turnover. Like, people stay 2 years and then they leave, and then somebody else comes in and then they leave. I don't know what the problem is. They probably feel like they're not getting paid high enough. I'm not getting paid high enough either. And once I got here in this position, I realized that it's a low position on the totem pole. Like, it's totally beneath my qualification to be doing this job. But I don't care. To me, I don't care about the title. It's like, on my resume, this job really fills out some job responsibilities that I didn't have in my last job. So it's just going to make my resume stronger. It's not going to hold me back any what the title of the job is. Like, nobody cares. But anyway, I could be making a lot more money. So I would imagine that there's probably, like, they have data analysts there, but they'll call them something else, like a consultant, so that they don't have to pay somebody like a data analyst, okay? But they have people there doing the work of data analysts who have data analyst degrees. So people start getting resentful of that kind of stuff, Now, as far as, like, how do I feel after, being freed from this position that I was in with her? Like, have I recovered? Do I feel any better? No, I don't. From the day I walked into this job until today, it's been like 3 weeks, and I feel like a total imposter. I shouldn't have gotten this position and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, and I'm not capable of it. But really, the only things they've asked me to do so far that I know of that I'm going to be doing is managing some calendar events, updating a website, which is like, I could do that in my sleep, and taking care of like a mailing list of announcements and things like this. And they're paying me good money for this, believe me. I mean, for what it actually is, I could be doing more, is what I'm saying. But those are the only things that I sort of know about right now. And I'm in training, and I'm training with some different programs, and that's wonderful. Like, they're actually giving me time to train. Like, this woman gave me no training. She stood behind me. Like, if there was a program that I needed to learn, she'd stand behind me and tell me, like, okay, move your mouse there, go up there, click on that, open that, move it here, do that. Okay, close the program, you're done. That was her idea of training. That's not my idea of training. My idea of training is there's a manual, there's an example, there's a template, there's a video you watch, and you do the training on your own. You don't stand with somebody behind you telling you where to put your cursor and your mouse. standing 1 foot behind you, 1 foot behind you, and breathing their stinking breath on you, and smelling up the room with their BO. That's not training to me. That's more bullshit. And I also feel like I can't do anything right. And I'm still feeling the same way I felt when I was describing all of these problems 3 weeks ago. It hasn't gotten any better. I'm not going to go to therapy because I've been in therapy my whole life and it doesn't do anything, really. I mean, if you have, go to therapy if you want to go to therapy. I'm not telling you not to go if it's helpful for you, but it hasn't been at all helpful for me. Like, I was in a bad marriage and I had a lot of, problems with child custody and everything else, getting a divorce, and I was in therapy the whole time for that, and it didn't make any of that easier for me. It didn't change that asshole any, and it didn't change the outcome at all of what happened, I've been in breakups that broke my heart with men, just totally crippled me with like heartache. And it didn't change the fact that those things happened. It didn't make my time of healing any shorter. I still have, like, one guy, I still can't, like, get over how he screwed me over. Like, he was a total con. I can't get over it. On his birthday, I see red every year when it rolls around. I see red. It's like that song, I see red. It hasn't diminished one single iota of a bit. Um, you know, so just therapy just doesn't help. It doesn't help me any. It's not any different than if you just have somebody to talk to. Um, and I have people to talk to. Like, I can talk to my sister or sisters, So I'm not going to go. And but I do take medications. I have real anxiety. I live in constant fear of somebody coming up to me and telling me that I'm doing something wrong. I feel all the time like people don't like my personality. Even though I am pleasant, I am, I try to be very professional at work, and good morning and thank you and everything, and I address people correctly. Um, in my head, people don't like me. Like, for example, we had like an office meeting, like the entire staff, and like some auxiliary people from different departments, and we were all sitting at a table, like 4 or 5 of us, and there's one like coworker that I have that I like, who I'm friendly with, just in a just in a friendly sort of way. We haven't done anything like gone out for coffee or anything like that. I just like him at work. He's funny, and we've had some good like little talks at work, and I did tell him that I was kind of scared and worried because I'd been coming from a bad situation. I didn't tell him anything more than that. Because you never know. People, will turn on you. They'll find some little thing in your background, and the next thing you know, they'll be gossiping about you, like, what's wrong with you? They'll be telling them, well, she didn't get along with her, whatever, she had problems at her last job. I don't tell anybody anything. But anyway, he was sitting with me at the table at first, and then, like, midway through, like, some people were changing tables to sit with new people, and I noticed he changed the table and wasn't sitting near me anymore. And also, I asked him if, like, we could be friends on Instagram, and he just said, I'm not active on Instagram, because I really like LinkedIn. So he has looked at my profile on LinkedIn, and we exchanged a couple, pleasantries on LinkedIn, but that's it. So I think he's trying to say, like, no, we're not going to be friends. We're just, like, professional acquaintances. That's it. And but in my mind, it's not because of, it's just he doesn't like me. He doesn't like my personality, or he thinks I'm goofy, or like I do. I am the type of person who I like to make people laugh, and I like to laugh. And so if given the opportunity, like, sometimes I will crack a little joke and almost everybody will laugh. And afterwards, I don't do it all the time. Like, I'm not a comedian. I am serious. I'm serious about my work. I'm smart. I'm intelligent. I can present in front of a room. I was a professor. So I don't like to come off as a goofball. So I only will do that once in a great while. But I'm very successful at it when I do it. But anyway, after something like that happens where I say something and everybody laughs, I feel stupid, and I feel like even if we all laughed and we enjoyed it and it was perfectly like nothing wrong with it. Like, it was a situation we were going around the room and she's like, tell me one fun fact, and I said one fun fact, and I didn't say that, I told another little story, but everybody laughed, so there's nothing wrong with that. But with me and my anxiety and my low self-esteem and everything that I've carried away from me in that last position, like, I imagine already, like, people already not liking me and forming judgments about me, and because I have such low self-esteem and anxiety, like, and this is all thanks to her. I don't know, you know, what's, I don't know that this is the perfect job for me, or, I don't know if I am going to have trouble here. I can't really tell. Like, when I first got there, I was like, I don't know why these people hired me. I can't do anything that they're talking about. Like, it seemed like to me they wanted a computer systems person, and I'm not. Like, I know how to use some applications, but I don't know anything about, like, CIS, computer information systems, nothing. I don't know anything about networking. Like, I know some basic things like WAN, LAN, token, bus, like those kinds of things, administrator, but I don't know anything else about networking. But as I've gone along here, they've given me a little bit more of a clue of what they want me to be doing, and I'm basically just a glorified secretary, and I can do that. So, but I have great anxiety, so I'm not recovered. And like I was saying in another video, I still feel all the time like I'm doing something wrong, and somebody's going to come up to me and tell me that I'm doing something wrong, you know. And that is definitely from having worked with her. So if I haven't gotten through to you enough about the importance of, like, if you get into a job right away and if you feel like your supervisor is a narcissist ADD type, and if there is any way for you to get out, because like I was saying, I worked at that university a lot longer than she did, and she was making it so that I couldn't get promoted and I couldn't get a raise, and she basically forced me out. Like, you're not going to stay someplace where you can't get promoted and you're not going to get a raise and somebody's marking you down in your reviews. It's really humiliating, and there's just no future for you if that's what's happening. And it was unfair. It really was. And that's 2 years in my resume, and I look like a job hopper, for having left there so early. It's not good. I couldn't have used her for a reference. So if you get in with somebody like that, it's career suicide. It's only by luck and by the grace of God, and by the fact that I am in education, and education is one field where there's a lot of hiring going on, that I managed to get another job and get out. But if it's any other field, you might not be so lucky. So again, my warning to you is get out
fast, and don't let them, because if you even stay there 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, you're going to be, you're like biting yourself in the ass, because you will not come out of there with anything good. You know what I mean? Like, you won't have a reference. You'll either get fired or you'll be forced out. Or you'll have to leave because they'll make you so goddamn miserable. So anyway, that's my advice: is get out fast. Truth bombs. Bye.